We're actually doing it different this week because normally me and Dubl will chop it up for 10 minutes and then we'll bring the guest in. But today, obviously, man's here, innit? We got Scottie B inside the building, you know.
Scottie Bizzle, I think, out of every DJ, your name gets mentioned more than anyone else on this podcast, you know. I think throughout the 2 years we've been doing it, the name's come up more than... Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's mad.
A real pioneer, proper role model in the building. So, yeah, we're
I feel like Scottie's like the DJ's favourite DJ, innit? Do you agree, Dubl?
Yeah, you know what? I don't want to inflate your ego too much, bro, but I feel like Scottie B is like the EZ of hip hop and R&B for us. Do you know what I mean? So see where EZ had all the technical wizardry and the next level tricks that no one thought of, and he does them for garage. That's the levels that you set, Scottie, when it comes to hip hop and R&B. Because I always loved EZ as a DJ, but I was never really a garage head. I wasn't into garage music like that. But I could appreciate the stuff he did. But then I remember the first time seeing you on them Pioneers, bro. Like, woo!
I got to agree, to be fair. I think Scottie was the first DJ I've seen do it like that. Like, obviously, EZ was one of my favourite DJs coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
But then when I moved over to do like the R&B and the hip-hop stuff, I think Scottie was the first guy I seen that was doing the mad techers with the Q buttons and like just having a different creative like style that we'd not seen before, innit?
No, that's appreciated, man. That's love, bro. I mean, for me, it's funny because obviously starting on House and Garage and stuff, when I started, I always used to play everything, but out, it was just mainly House and Garage and things like that. So when Garage kind of started to die out and obviously my sets became more open format, my style was already that way, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Obviously not like an EZ, but because I was already in that realm, it was kind of like, okay, I'm moving over, but then, or I'm opening up my my playing skills and, you know, what I'm playing. But how do I incorporate what I've already got with the hip hop side? Because obviously those days, it was a long time ago, but yeah, those days, literally, if you was R&B and hip hop, like a lot of the DJs couldn't actually mix; they were just scratching, and it was literally scratch, 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 next tune, scratch, 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 next tune. Do you know what I mean? So, the first person I heard properly doing all of that kind of stuff, as well as mixing, was Shorty Blitz, and then CLK as well. And I was like, yo, this is sick. Like, I was like, Rod, they're mixing, but they're actually cutting it. But then, because obviously, starting with the House and Garage, I wasn't into scratching. Like, I saw it and stuff like that, and it was cool, but it wasn't, because it's different, you know what I mean? It's different genres and different, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's different makeups. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, hip hop, you do one thing, and house and everything else, you do another. So, for me, it was like, okay, I like that. How do I now take what I've got, incorporate it to that, but then also do what they can do? Because obviously I couldn't do that at the time. Do you know what I mean? So it was just kind of a build up from there. So for me, like you said, EZ's definitely a huge inspiration. Heartless Crew with Fonty, Shorty. Do you know what I mean? For me, it was kind of like those three were my go-to. So it was like, all right, what are they sick at? Let me take that, but then make it my own. Do you know what I mean? And then make it into my style kind of thing. And that's what I tried to do, because I know, I mean, it's more nowadays anyway, but nowadays I think a lot of DJs just see other DJs and just literally just try and copy what they're doing. They don't actually try and think, all right, let me learn how to do that, but then either make it better or make it into my own. Do you know what I mean?
Turn it into my own.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between biting a style or taking little bits of sauce and then mixing it up with your own flex, innit? I hear that. Yo, big up to Heartless Crew still, because they were the first DJs I heard. They'd be like slow jams into garage,
right?
And then like drum and bass into hip hop and that. And at the time, I'm thinking, boy,
exactly, because
Fonty was moving different.
Yeah, it's the same. We're all in the same area near enough. Do you know what I mean? So for me, when I first heard Fonty doing that, it was like, okay, he played this slow jam, so it was like, that's a sick idea. But straight away, I was like, I can do it with this slow jam. Do you see what I'm saying? It wasn't even like, obviously, the idea he was the first person I heard do it. I mean, there could have been others, but just for me, he was the first person. But
Same.
straight away, it was like, it's not even necessarily a copying thing. It's just like, okay, you're doing it that way, but I'm going to do it this way. Do you know what I mean? And then
I think
there was loads of other things
Rampage
he did as well. Which was
Rampage
sick,
might
but
have
then,
been the first people
again,
that I heard do that.
Rampage as well, still actually.
Yeah.
I think that was a little bit later on though. When I heard them anyway.
Yeah.
I remember
I'm not
checking
sure
them on
what-
One Extra, and they were doing that whole multi-genre like mixing stuff. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
hearing- yeah. Trouble T especially, he used to do his thing, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, they were the first multi-genre lot. So like, Scotty, how did you get started? Where was the beginnings for you?
Right. Yeah. You know what's funny? All of this is mad because where it's crazy because with everything that's happening, I've actually had to come back to my mum's for a little bit, and it's funny being back here because then it's like,
Back to the roots kind of thing.
yeah, like literally where these decks are. This is where I had my first turntables, and it was like,
That's sick.
That's sick.
like when I set it up when we moved back in, it was like, right, I literally haven't played music in this room for like 18 years or something like that.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? So it was literally when I first did it and I started doing one of the classes, the teaching classes, it was just weird because I'm standing here just messing around and I'm like, I literally used to stand here and just like, this is where it all started. So
The nostalgia.
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, man, I mean, it started, when did I start? 97, I think. That's when I first started DJing. And then when a friend at school actually lent me a deck. Lent me one deck.
Just the one.
Yeah, he lent me one. And
Flex
then-
on that, Scotty.
Trust me, he lent me one turntable, and then I had a Discman, and then I already had a little, I think it was like a Newmark or Gemini mixer or something like that, and so I had one deck, and then I had a Discman. So on one side I'm working out how to mix, and on the other side I'm just pressing play and playing
Oh my.
Discman. So
Oh my.
and it was mad because, like, literally, like I said, I remember it. I was on the floor here and I was just messing around. And I remember getting 2 tracks together. And I was like, yo, I shouted out to my mom. I was like, yeah, listen to this. She was like, yeah, whatever.
I got it.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's literally how it started. I mean,
Oh, so you mixed the turntable with a Discman.
yeah.
No wonder this guy's got skills, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
To be fair, before that, though, to be honest, before that, I actually, my mum's friend was talking about it the other day. I did a party for them when I was like 15, and I literally just played tapes. Like,
Mad.
she had a tape player, and then there was like, you used to get like the sound systems, the hi-fis that had like the separate parts.
Yeah, the separates. Yeah.
So she had like one hi-fi bit, like a normal stereo system. Then I had like obviously the separate. So I bought my tape bit. So I was literally going from tape to tape. So when a tune was running out, I'd like go pause, play, like line it up, and then just as it comes out, flick it on quickly. So I did like a whole night like that. It was crazy. But
People don't know the struggles now. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, bro.
That's some
Now they got the
vintage
beat, they got the
DJing.
beat, sing, everything's ready on the screen.
Yeah,
Back then, man,
trust
are
me.
lining up tapes and that.
Trust
I think
me.
that helps. I think that helps, though. You know, I think
No,
like
of course.
because we had to learn like the harder way in it. Like even turntables, it's not easy. Like I feel like if you learn on a CDJ and then you to go to a turntable after, I think most would struggle from the off, innit?
You know what it is? I think I was saying this to Double the other day. Like even with the classes and stuff I'm doing, there's a lot of people that think they can DJ, which is funny because, like, in essence, like you said, when you see those pictures, like, oh, you put one of these in front of people and they can't DJ anymore, and it's not necessarily like older DJs or people that learn on vinyl like taking the mic. It's just unfortunate with timing. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if you start nowadays, you can't. Even to be fair, even like Technics nowadays, I think I saw one for like $1,000 for like one deck. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy because when I got my pay, they were like £500, and that was mad at that time. Do you know what I mean? So nowadays,
Real
if you're
talk.
getting let's just say a controller, like that's what's there, innit? I can't really wrong you for that. But then at the same time, it's like like you said, everything's in your face. So everything's put there for you. When we started learning, or if you started learning on vinyl, there was no tempo. Like there was the speed, but then like I don't know if this record mixes with that. I don't know if where to cue that up from. Like all of these things you had to do
the only
yourself.
ones that did that. The only ones that did that were, do you remember the Lethal Weapon compilation vinyls? They had like...
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but that
Do you
came
remember
after.
them? They
That's
had
what I'm saying. That
like
came
eight
after,
bar
though, bro.
intros.
That came
Right,
after. That's
okay.
what I'm saying. So, like, I mean, even if you go way before that, the Lethal Weapons, because that was I swear it's one of your boys in Brighton, right? That did those.
Yeah, JJ down
Yeah,
at...
that's it. JJ, yeah. 'Cause I remember.
Oh,
getting
was that one of
that's
your boys that did them?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he did them, but that's who I got them from, and I don't
Mad.
know. I don't know if they were like
I don't think
widely
it was
available
it
through the
Lethal
country.
Weapons? It was Lethal Weapon. There was another one, but basically before all of that, that was before the intro stuff. So when you just had normal, like when the labels would
normal
send me
singles
records
and
and stuff, say
promos
like
and stuff,
they'll
yeah.
send like a Ludacris track or a Jay-Z track. There wasn't no intros or outros or
BPM.
whatever. Do you know what I mean? You might get the
It didn't tell you
instrumental.
the BPM or anything.
Yeah, and it does nothing shows you anything. So all you pick up, let's just say 5 records, and it's like in your head you have to know. All right, do I know these 5 songs? Yes, I do. Does 3 of them work, or do all 5? Can they mix together in some way? Because the pitch control is +8, -8, so you have enough space to go where you're going. But you have to work it all out. Nowadays, you're getting 5 tracks. As soon as you put them in your program, 90, 100, 75, and then straight away it's like, okay, well,
Processes the thing as soon as you load it up, man. Gives you the key, the tempo, all of it.
yeah. But the thing
I
is,
hear
that's
it.
good. But then what's happening nowadays is that a lot of DJs are like, oh, like that's 90. All right, let me get another 90. Let me get another 90. No one's thinking like it's funny because the more I'm like teaching a lot of people, I'm actually realizing like they're not even thinking like that. They're literally thinking 90 has to go with 90 and.
Okay.
Or maybe 89 has to
matching
go with
numbers.
90. Yeah, they're not really thinking because obviously they don't know, and like I said, I can't really wrong them for that because if you're learning in this day and age and you're not used to something else, you're not gonna know. Do you know what I mean? So they're not even trying to mix, let's just say something that's 85 with something that's already at 92, for example. Do you see what I'm saying? Or,
Unless they're learning to mix bashment. Those kids these days are mixing 85 BPM with 120 BPM.
Exactly. But not being funny, but even though you say that, but even that in itself, when you think about it, you can conceive that as a remix, really.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Sounds wild, though.
Even just by doing that, do you know what I mean? That's technically thinking outside the box. You're not just trying to think, oh, well, I can only mix this with this. You're actually trying to bring something new. Do you know what I mean? Whether it sounds good or not,
They just
it's a
need to
different
keep that key lock on. They need to put that key lock on because
as long as they do that.
Yeah, I don't get why they don't put that on. You'd be able to style it so much better, innit?
it wouldn't matter so much. But yeah, it's me. And that's the other thing about when it was proper vinyl or like real vinyl is you're right. There was +8 and -8, but there was no key lock. So if you're running a tune at -8 on the turntable, it sounded mad or even pitched up. It's only an 8% difference.
Yeah.
But the tone of the vocal, you can clearly tell. Even past, like, I would say, out of habit from those days, I never really push a record past 4. Do you know what I mean? Just because, like, or not to run it. I might, if I'm mixing and it needs to be stretched that far, I'll push it to the 8. But as soon as the record drops in, I'm quickly bringing it back down. Just out of habit from in those times when it would sound wild with the high-pitched voices and stuff.
I think that's where I'm probably different because where I was playing house and garages, like, I still just whacked it up to like 7 and 8. And to me, I'm like, it sounds all right.
Guy's got the 128 playing at 140 and that. I think some songs you can play faster now, especially with the key lock. Obviously, some don't sound right, but a lot of stuff you can get away with. I think a little bit of tempo in there gives it a bit of extra kick.
Me
sometimes.
personally, I think it just gives everything more of a vibe. Like for me, I always say, if you're playing everything at 0, then what's the point in us being here? Like, why do you need a DJ? You might as well just put your iPod on shuffle or something like that and just play the songs. Because realistically, what are we now doing? And then you might as well go back to the whole, oh, well, this is 90. I'm going to mix this with 90. Because nothing sounds more stupid than, let's just say, you've got 85, you're mixing it with 90, you mix it, and as soon as you mix it in, you just bring it all the way back down to 80. Like, it's going to sound stupid. Do you know what I mean?
So I hear that.
It's kind of like, why even bother have like a pitch control or all the things you have on a CDJ or whatever if you're not going to use it, you're just going to go back to the 0 anyway. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I said, the vibe is just going to be dead because you're not in a car, you're not in your house, like you're somewhere where you're trying to make people dance and get a vibe. So let's just say like the trappy stuff, where it's slow and they made it in a certain vibe for maybe certain places. Now it's like if you speed it up, you get more of a groove, more of a bounce, and it's, do you see what I'm saying? It's more energy now. Whereas,
You're
like,
right,
like
you're
I said,
right,
if you're in your
actually.
house, you're just, you know, all right, cool. I don't care if it's 0 because I'm just zoning out.
Chilling.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Chilling.
true
Yeah,
stories.
that's true, because actually now you've said that, there is certain records, especially from a lot of like Little Baby and Gunner and all those guys in America that are making like the 55 BPM stuff. I am running that at the top pitch because it puts it up to like 60, 62, and it gives you a lot more other stuff you can work with those tunes.
But this is what I'm saying. But guaranteed, when you speed it up, it's going to sound better.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That's like my worst tempo, but I hate 55, man.
I don't really stick there. Even with slow jams, bro, even if I don't really...
That's like a lost tempo, bro. We had that conversation.
Yeah,
I feel like 55 is the new lost tempo, bro. You go down there, you get stuck.
Yeah, straight off the bat, the only thing 55's good for is if you're double timing it with something at like 110. Like I remember, I used to do, I can't remember what the tunes were, but I used to dip in and out of like Krypton Conan, Don't Waste My Time, and then back up to the 110 BPMs where you can pick up the energy again. Just shit like that, do you know what I mean? But that's for us DJs that like it to be fluid. Because some DJs don't give a fuck. They'll just drop Don't Waste My Time, and then straight after they'll go straight into like a 70 BPM tune, then an 85 BPM tune, doing what Scotty said at the start. People just drop.
But do you see what I'm saying though? But your everything you're saying, that's from not only just experience, but that's come from where we've been playing vinyl. There was no transitions or nothing like that. It was like, how do we have to be creative to get this from here to there? So, like you said, if you got to think to yourself, well, I'm already in a slow tempo, let me play something slower, but it's going to sound similar, but not. But then I'll be able to then, like you said, pick up the tempo with something in a different range. But then now the vibe's gone from here to here, but you've technically not changed anything. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's you working it out rather than looking at your screen and being like, oh, that's with that, that key's with that. Like, to me, it just dumbs you down. Do you know what I mean? There's so many people I know that's played on Serato and they actually try to just go mess around on vinyl and just mix, and they've said to me, like, bro, I couldn't do it. Like, they fully couldn't mix because they've stopped using their ears. They're just literally like this, looking at the screen, and now it's gone from actually using your ears. Because even, again, when I talk to people, it's like, what's music? Music you listen to, use your ears.
Yep. Real
Do you
talk.
see what I'm saying? So nothing against Serato and all these programs, but like as a DJ, use your ears. Like, you don't stand there and just look, like, your eyes are meant to be for the crowd and what's going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, use your ears and hear. Because the thing is, as you guys have probably seen it as well, when you're looking at your Serato, there's a track that you blatantly know is 60, but your Serato might say 189 or something crazy.
Real talk.
You see what I'm saying?
That shit makes your head fall off.
But we know that it's not that. We know both of them are 60 and it's going to be fine. But this is what I'm saying. I've seen it, bro. Like, I've seen I can't even say new DJs or young DJs. I've seen DJs out there, even certain people that are like our age. Like, they're literally, even some of them have sync on, and they're literally trying to mix like 100 BPM with like a 75. And it's like, what are you
They're
doing?
not trying to use the ears at all.
This is
innit?
what I'm saying. It's just because the numbers say whatever the numbers say, it's like, well, that goes with that. And it's like, can you not hear that?
I think Dubl has a good idea. I know Dubl turns his waves off. So even when he's playing on Serato, you're not catching yourself looking at the screen or whatever. Like,
just got the library. You know what? Recently, actually, I've had to turn it back on because I've been using those. Phase,
oh really?
Yeah. I've been using the phase controllers. You know, the Bluetooth controllers that go on the vinyl to take the needles out of the equation, basically.
Yeah.
I've been using them, but I've been finding that they have been slipping a bit. So
There's
where I'm doing
delay.
a lot of mixes and stuff, and I'm starting to find that I'm clanging the shit out of some mixes, like proper royal clangage.
Oh my face.
But honestly, at first, I wasn't sure if it was just me being out of practice or me maybe just not, because I'm not DJing in the club 3-4 times a week, just getting a bit rusty. So I actually turned the waveforms back on, and it's quite clear. You can see they're in, and then it'll not even drifting. It will glitch just a little bit and be a millimeter out.
Oh, for real?
And then it'll glitch back and then be a
that's
bit
not
forward.
the
So
one.
like they've released a new bit of software now which has got rid of that problem. But
Again,
more recently,
you see,
I've been looking
it
at the
still comes
waveforms.
back down to what I was saying, bro. You not only know yourself, but you know, nah, this can't be right. Because we can all mix, we can all beat match. So if something goes wrong, like, we all have off days and stuff, but you know, like, nah, it's going to be that. Whereas someone, like I said, that doesn't know, or like someone that's new to the game and like they've picked up a controller in Serato or a controller in Record Box or whatever, and to them, oh, well, this is in because it says it's in, or the waves say it's in. But it's like, yeah, but if you listen to it, it's out because something's wrong with your laptop, or like you said, there's a glitch or there's a slight delay. Like, but we can easily hear it. But because they're literally looking at the data, to them, well, this is what the data's telling me. Do you know what I mean?
The shit will be fully clanging and out of time, and they're persevering with the mix.
I've seen it. This is the thing. I've seen it, and I've heard it so much, and I'm standing there. I'm like, right, you actually think that sounds cool?
Oh my days! What do you play on, Scotty? What's your preference? What are you rocking at the minute? USBs, Serato, or?
No, I've been on USBs for years now. I'm on Recordbox.
Okay.
So I use Recordbox via the USBs. I still don't trust the laptop. I've tried it when I was in Dubai a few times with my residencies. I tried the laptop just because you don't know when you're doing residencies, like your head gets frazzled. So people ask you for tunes, you're like, "What's it?" And it's just easier to type. But every time I used the laptop, it kept giving the CDJ some like emergency loop thing. But it was only when I put the laptop in. Otherwise, it was fine. So so I just left it. But if anything, it made me make my folders even more organized, because I was like, all right, well, if I'm not going to use that, then I need to get even more sorted with my folders. Do you know what I mean? So I just use Recordbox on the USBs.
Do you know what? Yeah, I look at people using USBs, and I think I've got so used to using my crates and my Serato and having that much music on there. And like you say, because we do a lot of residency work as well, I don't even know how I would handle doing a full set on like a USB thing, man. I mean, frazzle.
I mean, you can get huge, like you can get really. There's good sizes. I mean, mine are 256 gig.
Okay.
But you can get up to 1 terabyte now, for example. So when I got my 256, that was like the biggest at the time, and then I think now I've seen I think you get 501 terabyte. So for us, like, it's perfect. So for me, I've got like 17,000 tracks or something on there. But I know there's DJs with like Serato and whatever, and they've got like 30,000 songs and all this kind of stuff. But I could fit all of that on the.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, but I could fit that on the USB,
I've only got
for
about
example.
80,000 on here, I think.
Do you know what I mean?
Ridiculous.
But
ridiculous.
But that's the thing. So even with that, that's probably because with you guys as well, where you know you have that space. For example, say an album comes out, you will literally just download the whole album and just have it on there in case. Me, I'm like, I'll download the ones I like and I'll put that on there. Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm kind of like you, Scotty, to be fair. I don't download the full albums. I'll scour what I do now. I go on Spotify. I'll scour the ones that I feel are dope, and then I'll go to the mail outs or wherever it's coming from, and I'll just pick out the dope stuff. I try to keep it. I used to do that shit back in the day. I think that's why my hard drive's such a mess now, and I'm just putting off actually organising and going through it.
Because I was thinking about this the other day. I think when Drake brought out his few new ones, and me personally, I don't really think they're that great. Do you know what I mean? But the way
Which ones?
The Greeks.
Oh, Greece and that one.
And the one with Hedy and all that. Like, I'm not a fan of none of them. Obviously, whether or not people want to hear them in the clubs is a different thing. So, for example, because I know people's going to want to hear them, I'll have them there for argument's sake. But I think the Greece one, I wasn't feeling at all. And I was like, I'm not downloaded it. And then, like, my wife was like, you know someone's going to ask you for it. And I'm like, you know what? It's true.
It's Drake, man.
And the thing,
definitely going to get asked
for. But the thing is, I randomly had it. And imagine someone... Like 3 people asked me for it. And I'm like, out of all of them, why would you choose this one? But you know when you just know. But then, again, it comes back to, I was thinking, look at the difference. When it was vinyl days, you guys would know because I tell people this all the time. Like, people complain about buying music. Like, it's $1.99 or 79p for one song.
Bro, if only they knew.
We were paying like £7 to £10, maybe even 15 for one song. So
trust me.
If a certain man didn't have a certain song, it's like, bro, I'm not playing that song, innit? I'm not spending my money on that song. Whereas now, like, literally, everyone's just like playing the same thing. No one has their own identity. Like you said, like, I play how I play. Dubble's got skills. Style's got skills. Like, we all play differently and we have our own vibe. You see what I'm saying? Whereas a lot of new people, it's like, well, I'm gonna get all these big tunes. When looking at data, like, they just all sat. You know what I mean? There's no like different, like, who's actually good. No one's actually got anything different on anyone else because they're all doing the same thing, playing the same stuff just because it's hot or it seems like it's hot. Do you know what I mean? Do you actually like that? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, do you actually like Drake's new one or whoever's new one? Do you see what I'm saying? Are you just getting it because society or social media is telling you, yeah, this is the new song? It's like, all right, but just because it's new don't mean I have to play it.
It goes back to the point you said originally about like people not having their own style because everything is so accessible now. They can get the software, they can all go and download the Hot 100 and they're reading, and like you say, they're just reading the files. Whereas back then, it was like you say, people created their own identity from scratch,
Yeah.
or people weren't really biting. They would
straight.
take a little bit of sauce and mix it up. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like,
It
for
was
argument's
about
sake,
knowing the music as well, though. That's the thing. It was about
Yeah.
knowing everything through and through. So not only did you buy your own vinyl, that was your taste, because that's what you're spending your money on. So I'm
Yeah.
not just going to go and buy any record that's hot because it's my money. So my set was what I liked. Obviously, there would be crossover ones, some of the biggest tunes that you kind of had to get, but I
Yeah.
liked them anyway. Do you know what I mean? But then there was the other ones that I would get that I liked. But the thing is now, where you can get everything, it's like you say, everybody just sounds the same, and it's not necessarily a DJ's personal flavor.
Yeah.
It's just what they think they should be playing.
this is the thing,
Crazy.
and that's where it's been dumbed down so much over the years, where everyone is just following everything. Like, even with like record pools, there'll be specific ones that people will go to, let's just say in the UK or wherever, and it's like, that would be like, that's it. So when people ask me like, where do you get your music? I'm like, bro, I'm on like 12. Like, I spend like £250, £300 a month just on record pools, and people like, what, you can just go to this one? I'm like, yeah, but that one doesn't have everything, or that one, do you know what I mean? Like, but again, my mentality is like, there weren't just one record shop. I'm traveling around all over the place, going to different
Trust me.
places. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's the same with record pools. Do you know what I mean? And it's a lot of money, but when you add it up, it's kind of like, I'm always going to have everything I need. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to wait. Because there's certain record pools, you lot have probably seen it, where a tune's come out and you're like, two of them have it, and one specific one won't have it for like another month. It's just like, do you know what I mean? So
Real talk.
at the end of the day, you invest in yourself and whatever it takes to make you better. Do you know what I mean?
Most definitely, man. So that's a recurring theme that we keep coming across. That is such an important message. Like, invest in yourself, and it just spend money. It's like I think like a lot of people don't look at this as the business the way that they should. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's you got to spend money to make
That's
your
why a
business
lot of people
work.
don't last, bro. Like, a lot of people, I mean, you guys have been mixing how long? I've been mixing how long? Like, it's our jobs. Do you know what I mean? I remember there was an argument for a few years. Remember at one time where there was a load of DJs that, and there's nothing wrong with it, by the way, but there was a load of DJs that had 9 to 5s, and they were DJing as well. But because of that, they didn't mind taking crap money or playing for less, but not thinking it's messing up things for like proper like literally not even proper DJs, but
We've
DJs
had this conversation.
Yeah.
Career. I like
several
the term
times.
Career.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like career.
DJs is
Like,
the term that I like.
I've never, since I was 16, the only job I've actually had was I was working in a record shop, and I was basically DJing all day anyway. You see what I'm saying? So from then until now, that's how I've made my money. That's my main source of income. That's what I do. So when other DJs do things, or like, obviously it's each to their own, innit? You have to look after yourself, like, it is what it is. But at the same time, us three, for example, we're in the same boat, so we know, like, if we were in the same area, for example, and there was like certain clubs or promoters taking the piss, we know we can be like, yo, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna try. Because we know they don't have a choice; they have to go to one of us or all three of us. Do you see what I'm saying? So we can make it work, and we know what it is. Whereas other people, it's like, well, yeah, I'll take that because, you know, Monday to Friday I'm getting my wage anyway, so it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? So
I hear, do you know what I hear? That, you know, the people that, it's like you say, it's so easy to jump in it now. These people will have the 9 to 5. They know they can try the little DJ thing. They don't fully take it serious. They've always got that backup income or their main income, so they can degrade it and pull it down. And then for the people like us, we're the people that take the hit.
This is the thing, and it's not only just the fact that they have a side, like a main job. It's also the fact, like I said, I come back to it. Everything's easier now. So where everything's easier and it's been watered down so much, the majority sounds the same, and the quality, the quality control's gone down, innit? So the quality's like here. So that's now the norm. So people that do more than that, they're kind of like, well, I'm not paying for that because I can go and get 5 of you that will do X, Y, and Z, and they'll all play the big tunes because all the tunes are accessible and rare tear, and it's kind of like, all right, but it's still not going to be the same. Do you know what I mean? But people aren't seeing that because, again, it's been watered down, and then the general public now accept that watered down version.
Yeah.
So now the general public see normal people, like the lesser DJs, as like, raw, like, this person's sick, and it's kind of like, but they can't even mix. Or they can't even
that's the thing
do a
as well.
baby scratch, or they can't even put 2 songs together.
They might just be doing 8-bar mixes, like literally for the whole night. using
but not even
transitions to
that.
get from one BPM to the other.
Yeah, but
and
the thing,
then,
no, but you
the
see,
general public, as long as they're playing the big tunes, the general public are like, "Oh, that was sick." I've seen people tweet some wild stuff, you know, about such and such. You're the best DJ I've ever seen, and it's kind of like, I know they're not. I know they're not the best DJ. They might have their game on smash, but they're not the best DJ. But like you say, the general public have been conditioned to think that mediocre DJ talent.
I was just going to say, do you think the crowd's a problem then, and it's not just the DJ thing? Because
the crowd's been a problem for a while, but it's like a lot of DJs won't see it. Like, I mean, obviously social media, everyone's going to say what they're going to say because everyone has an opinion nowadays, isn't it? But everyone's going to be like, oh, well, you know, you should be able to switch it up and do this and do that. And it's like, bro, like you said, you lot got, well, I said I got 17. You lot got like 80,000. So it's not like we can't switch it up. Do you know what I mean? I've been with Dubl certain times in clubs where I've seen him go through every genre. He's seen me go through every genre and do it well. And literally everyone's just, do you see what I'm saying? Because they don't understand what raving and the concept of everything is. They're just like, a lot of people are just there nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, they're just there for the sake of being there.
The problem is the way I see it. There's two things that have changed and really affected like the clubbing experience and the DJ game. The first one is reality TV, because as soon as reality TV became a thing and quote unquote normal people were suddenly famous for not anything skilled. Like when you've got all these Big Brother stars that are just normal people suddenly thrust in front of the public, then they become celebrities. Now they come out, well, the booking agents are like, well, I mean this in the most respectful way.
You could be a DJ.
Well. No, I mean this in the most respectful way, yeah, but the most respectful way that I can be. They come out and they're suddenly famous, but they have no skills. They have no talents. So the booking agent is like, well, let's just chuck you in a club and give you a DJ set for an hour. And the club will pay because the people want to see you and come and take photos. So then they're getting booked for. Does that make sense? So that's the first thing that has affected it. It's just it's completely mad.
Like I said, me and you've had these conversations over the years, but it's a big cycle. It goes from crowds to social media to, like you said, the whole, I call it fake celebrity stuff, like all of that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing, like, even like you said, on a basic level, even if someone's doing like the 8-bar intros and all that kind of stuff, like, there's nothing wrong with that, because at least if you can mix and whatever, like, those kind of people, I just call them solid DJs. Like, you can, cool, like, you just go about your business. Do you know what I mean? But there's people that aren't even doing that, bro. They're literally, they're either clanging in the mixes, or they're just dropping track for track, or they will one hip hop, one dance, or one Afrobeat. Like, what I've been hearing lately is like people playing Bashment, for example, and then mixing up the rhythms. So they'll be playing Buzz Rhythm, they'll play, let's just say, Give Me the Light, then they'll play another rhythm in between, then they'll go back to like the Toy Friend or something on the Buzz Rhythm later, and I'm like, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? It's
but to be honest, I'm not mad at that though, because
I thought Dubl was meant to be a Bashment selector, you know. Don't do it to yourself.
Don't let me down.
I'm not saying it's. No, hear me out. It's not. I'm not saying it's.
That must be that
I
seawater that's coming in from the coast there, bro. Like,
oh my days, that's that Brighton air, fam.
No, hear me out. I live in Maidstone, for fuck's sake. How many times? No, hear me out though. I'm not mad at them doing that, because in a way it's kind of thinking out the box. And if you think of it in terms of, take away the rhythm and think of it in the lyrics and hook of the songs, then it could make sense that they do that.
It don't make sense. First of all, let's just even go back to so even if you listen to Bashment DJs, they play it how it's meant to be played. So that's how it's meant to be played. That's the first thing. So if something's meant to be played a certain way, that's how you play that, right? If you think outside the box, cool. But even if you just look from a logical point of view, that's like saying, you see when they started making all those 8-bar garage tracks and whatever, that's like you're playing all of that and you rinsed yourself out of 10 tracks, and like Pulse X is like the last one, but then after that you mix in Pulse X. Like, why would you do that? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I think if you're gonna juggle rhythms, you got to do it right. You can't jump from one rhythm out and back in again. That's a bit mad.
If you play a rhythm, even just from a listening perspective, if you play one rhythm and it sounds like, let's just say, Give Me the Light, and then you play whatever afterwards, then you play another cut from Buzz Rhythm, and it sounds exactly the same, just with a different artist, you're going to be like, but then I just hear this. Do you see what I'm saying? Because like I said, if you're a normal person and you don't know, like, and you don't know about rhythms and rate, but your just natural hearing is going to be like, but I just heard this rhythm.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
I feel like really, if your crowd is full of normal people, then you're not going to go too deep into the rhythms anyway. Like, for example, if you're going on the 1 day rhythm, you're only playing rum and Red Bull. You're not playing the other cuts if it's just normal people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's fine though. But you're playing one. You're not going to play one and then come back in later.
No, but I think if you're
That's
playing
my
to
point.
a crowd...
Bro, you're not getting around it, bro. I'm not
with-
letting you have that one, bro.
No, but if you're playing to a
Cool,
crowd...
I think Dubl's cut off. Is he there?
See, even your Wi-Fi don't agree, fam.
Wi-Fi's not having it.
Listen. If you're playing to a crowd that understands juggling and understands that there are different cuts on a rhythm, if you play it, and I play it like this, so I'm sort of with you here, because I would play buzz rhythm altogether, or Diwali rhythm altogether, or Moscato rhythm altogether. But there's only so many different variations of tunes that you can play. So in the end, you just end up with everyone kind of doing the same set, and what's coming next becomes predictable. Whereas
That I get. But the thing is,
I get
that's that. But the thing with that is, for argument's sake, if seeing as we're talking about the buzz rhythm, there's at least about 5 or 6 good ones on there. But for argument's sake,
20-year-old rhythm that we're talking about.
Exactly. But let's just say that, for example, like there's at least 5 versions on there that you can play. Not everywhere, I get, but it's like playing the latest Drake songs. You know what's gonna pop off. So in essence, everyone's gonna, in theory, play the same cut after the same cut. But at the end of the day, that's just how it is. If you want to switch it up, that's your prerogative. However, by playing, let's just say, Give Me the Light, then you play No Letting Go, then you go back to Caper. It's like, why would you do that? That's not even playing.
You definitely won't do that if you was in a yard dance anyway, because you'd get.
But yeah, but I know Dubl wouldn't even do that on a normal day.
Yeah,
Do you see what I'm saying? That's my
So,
point.
like, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, because I do actually when I'm doing bashment like that, I do juggle. So like, I will play the cuts from a rhythm and I won't mix them up like that. So I do juggle rhythms, but I'm just kind of playing.
All right, so
devil's advocate.
let's bring it forward to modern day then. So if you're playing, would you play the ding dong afterwards, or would you play something else and then play ding dong?
How do you mean? What, ding dong on the same
same rhythm.
Yeah.
No, probably not.
The guys had to think about it as well, you know.
About it though, bro.
Because I'm trying to think. I
think he's trolling us. He's been in lockdown too long.
I'm just thinking. Yeah, that's what it is.
He's trolling us right now.
Okay, so there's 2 ways. Let me tell you about when I
Bro,
do
there ain't
bashment.
2 ways, bro.
There's no. There's 2 ways that I would format like a bashment set. So let me explain. One way would be to do rhythm juggling, and the other way is to mix it by topic. So, for example, you can have a bunch of tunes that you can whine to, right? So you've got Fever, and you've got Brock Off Your Back, and you've got Party Animal, all the girl tunes that you can bust a whine to. And then you've got other topics. They're not called this, but I call them gunshot rhythms, basically, like when they drop like...
I get all of that.
And they're a different topic. So if I'm trying to make people dance with each other, I'm not gonna play. I can't even think of an example.
I get what you're saying, but then my point is
that's a whining tune.
But you're missing the point.
An aggressive song.
Yeah, you're missing the point though, because the thing is, you're saying that, but then, for example, if you're in a place where it's a whining section, or that's what the vibe is, and it's not like a gunman event, then the gunman version you're not going to play regardless. I'm trying to say you're not going to play the whining cut and then 20 minutes later play the gunman cut, or like 10 minutes later, but like, you wouldn't do that. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
I just don't think that's off the table. Personally, I don't think that's this part of the conversation.
Yeah, I need to send you the class info, bro. You can
join Scotty's classes.
I'm just saying, I don't think that is a sign of someone who's a bad bashment selector.
No. I'm not saying, no. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're like terrible or nothing like that. It's just like that, because that's not the way. And the thing is, again, we're in a time where people's gonna be like, yeah, well, that's because that's the way. Then you'd have to do it that way now. And it's like I said, it's not even. You can do what you want, but like I said, it just sounds stupid.
I feel like there's rules of etiquette when it comes to playing bashment, innit?
Not even
Like,
just bashment.
There's a code of conduct there.
All right, for argument's sake, then, are you gonna play? Let's just say,
disagree.
no. Let's just say this then. You know, hurting me, Steph London. You know,
Yeah.
the squash has a version, right?
Okay.
So would you play hurting me and then 10 minutes later play squash's version by itself?
I wouldn't personally, but
But that's my point. Do you see what I'm saying? That's my point. Like, it's
I
the
hear it.
same rhythm, just a different version. But why would you play it later?
I'm with you, Scotty, on this one anyway. Sorry,
No, but
Dubs.
that's the easiest way to look at it. So that's like me saying.
I hear it. I hear you.
That's like me saying, let's just say Drake the motto, and then Tiger's got his version,
Yeah.
and then obviously you got Lil Wayne's bit. But let's just say they were all separate. Like, you wouldn't play them 3 and 4 songs apart. That wouldn't make any sense.
No, okay, but let me give you an example on the flip side. And again, I do want to just push it out
Let's
there.
get this last one in, and we'll move on.
I'm just playing devil's advocate because as a DJ, like my style, I'm with you here. I do play in rhythm selection. So, but just as devil's advocate, yeah, Wayne Wonder, No Letting Go.
Yeah.
Would you always play that in a Diwali rhythm juggling, or could you separate it as a single and then play other Diwali cuts later on? Again, I know it's a super old rhythm, but
no, exactly. But that's a perfect example because that
is a
you'd
good example
potentially-
still.
Yeah, that you'd potentially use in a warm up. Now, with
This
that,
guy.
no. But watch this now. Watch this now. With that, that's something. For example, you could play, say that, and Get Busy, but then play Lumidi like 10 songs later, for example.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, but Lumidi still
them
has a
tracks
kind of
on
different.
They're on the
It's-
same rhythm, but they're a little bit different, innit? It's not like the same cut.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not the exact same cut, but yeah, you could potentially do that. However, at the same time, it would also make sense, again, from a DJ perspective, if you're playing bashment, you're trying to get back into whatever, you play the 2 Diwali rhythms, then you play Doomedy, and now you're kind of in that middle ground. So now
Yeah,
you
it's
can
like a good
go,
crossover
it's a connecting tune. Do you see what I'm saying?
I hear
So
you. I hear
then
it.
you have to be smart with it. Do you know what I mean? But like Stxylo said, where it's an older rhythm and it's like the whole vibe of it is slightly different as well, like you can do that.
double 40 had it then in the
Yeah,
bag, didn't he?
No, I did. But I get what you're saying. I just like to play devil's advocate with these conversations.
It's all good. You love that double, innit? Fucking
Yeah.
hell. Anyway.
Yeah.